be like a quick fly through with a solid pause.
Hey, we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Prop Live. We're back. We took a little bit of a break, but we're here for your weekly prop and costume making Q&A session with an awesome guest, Andrew DFT.
Oh, me? Oh, hi.
No, it's the stormtrooper behind you. That's actually who we're gonna have on.
Surprise!
Andrew, I saw you before the last time we did this show.
You did.
Live in New Zealand.
In this exact room.
That's right. How have you been since we were there a week ago?
Pretty good. Just back to business, busting props, putting out as much content as I can, editing awesome collaboration videos with yourself.
That's correct. That's one of the reasons why we were excited to grab Andrew this week, because we've been working on a collaboration. I'm going to bring up his YouTube channel here. Of course, if you guys are not yet subscribed to Andrew's channel, head on over to Andrew DFT on YouTube and check it out. The last video is a hand cannon collaboration that he did with us that I'm very excited to have done because it was really fun. So, Andrew, you want to explain to the fine folks at home our little collaboration? What we did?
Sure. Well, we, being in very separate parts of the world and both being prop makers, wanted to do something fun. And we've never really worked together on a collaboration project before. And it's very rare to actually find people from different parts of the world working on collaborations. So why not make the most of an opportunity when he's coming to New Zealand to do something fun?
Correct.
Build Destiny props from our chosen materials.
Yes, and it's not like it was too much of a stretch for either one of us to want to make another Destiny gun.
Never a stretch.
Yeah, so we each made our own gun. I made one from EVA foam. Andrew made one from styrofoam. In fact, I was at the hardware store today. We have so much styrofoam, and those sheets.
I'm so jealous.
Those sheets are like $10 each.
Are you serious?
I had to send you a picture.
It's like $30 a piece for me. What the heck?
Oh my goodness. So he made his from styrofoam. I made mine from EVA foam, and then we traded. And we could have just mailed them to one another, but that wasn't any fun, since I was going to be in Auckland anyway. We did a little switcheroo, and it was super fun to film that. So if you guys watch either of our videos, at the end of them we do I won't spoil it because it's kind of fun. You got to go watch them yourself. So that was super duper cool. Also, while we were there, I filmed a little bit of a tour video just to show off your new space, because you just recently moved back into that house, right?
That's correct. I moved into this literally a week and a half before you got here. So I was in a quick rush to at least get a good, decent display up, so that way you weren't walking into one prop on a wall or something. So.
Oh, and you have plenty of props to pull from. So we got to do some behind the scenes stuff. We got to go have lunch. It was really nice in Auckland there. I'm really stoked. I was just stoked to see your space, because I'm always interested not just to see people's workspaces, but if people do a lot of filming type stuff like you do, you can put a lot of thought into like the your backdrop and making everything look cool for filming and lighting and all that. So it was really neat to see your space there.
Well, thank you very much.
Let's see here. Let's see what else we have. Oh, so we've only done half of the collaboration so far. The first videos are out. Everyone needs to go watch them. We each built a gun and traded them, but then we each painted the other person's gun, which was fun. I had a blast. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun painting the Mazcala, it's called?
Mazcala, that's correct.
And we're going to show that. We're going to give you guys a sneak peek really fast. We'll just hold it up on screen for about a second. And there's mine. There's yours. Okay, that's enough. Cool. To see the full thing, you're going to have to watch next week's videos. Wonderful. So how was mine to paint? Was it all right? You do okay with it?
Yeah, no, it was fun. I made a interesting video out of it. I really decided to take the viewers on a process of, is this gonna be good kind of thing, because I decided to really go with an ambitious color. Like I picked, like, for those of you that literally just saw it for a split second, it's a very bright turquoisey kind of color, very rich and unique. But that was kind of what I wanted to do, make a really high contrasting gun. So I take the process through that. Is it going to be good, or am I butchering your awesome prop? And it worked out really well. I'm really happy with the final video, so it should be pretty cool. I
had a fun, interesting thing happen with mine. I did some paint chipping, and you can use. I am happy with how it turned out, but I used. You can use different fluids. So like masking fluid, which is like a latex rubber. You can use mustard, which I've used in the past. But I wanted to try something else, so I used toothpaste, which worked fine. You just brush it on areas where you want the paint to chip off.
Right.
But my toothpaste is like Arm & Hammer hydrogen and peroxide whitening toothpaste, and it actually stripped the paint below it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it did. So,
wow.
so maybe not use hydrogen and peroxide toothpaste. Good to know.
Well, at least the prop smells nice.
It smells great.
I bet. Mine smells like mud.
It smells like mud. Wonderful.
I had to add that little piece of detail to the end of it.
Let's see. Brittany linked the thing in the notes here. She said it was a goofy Warlock video. What is this? What did Brittany link?
Oh, it's not me running up a river, is it?
It is you running up a river. You want to... Oh, jeez. I hadn't seen this. That's incredible. You want to give us a little behind the scenes on what that was about?
I was already ankle wet doing the photo shoot in the Riptide, and it was a very hot day there. So being in that costume for, an hour worth of photos, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do something stupid. Let's just try and beat the current. And yeah, that was the result.
I feel that way too. I did oh, it's hiding back here somewhere. I got my little radio controlled car. I made a fully custom radio controlled car, and then I wanted to get footage of it driving into through some shallow water. So I took it down to the ocean, or the Puget Sound, and I kept trying to get it close to the water, but and the waves would go out, and then then it just went right into the water. But I got it all in video.
Well, that's the important part.
So that's all that matters. Cool. Any other cool projects you're working on you want to chat about before we get rolling with the questions?
I just finished painting up a bunch of Mass Effect pistols this morning.
Oh, which ones? Oh, hey, look at those.
I can't hold 3 of them in 2 hands, but they're there. They're hiding behind each other.
I imagine you did a video for those?
No, these are just part of my Twitch stream, as a thanks to my supporters on Twitch. Just to give thanks to all those who wanted to generously give their money away to me to help do what I do. So
was that like nice a commission or a giveaway or?
These just random giveaways every 2 weeks. I'm just going to give away a prop that I've worked on, and just as a thanks.
That's awesome. That's a pretty good reason for everyone in the chat right now to go follow Andrew DFT on Twitch. Cool. How frequently are you doing the live streams?
4 a week.
Wow.
At the moment. While I've got all these collaborations I need to edit and video and all these tutorials that are promised, it's a good balance between 4 a week and making tutorials on the off day. So, yeah, it's pretty full on, but this is what I do. I've got nothing else to go and do, so why not?
Fantastic. The big thing we have coming up here in Seattle is Emerald City Comic Con, and that is in 1 week from now. And I won't have anything new for that, but I don't think I've worn my Fallout costume locally, so we'll probably see the Mechanist and the Assaultron for that. So look forward to that. We're still figuring out a meetup time. That'll in the next day or two, we'll probably have that figured out. We'll post it in the Prop Tarts page and everywhere on the internet. But that's our big local convention. That should be a lot of fun. Evil Ted Smith is going to be here. Stevie K. Smith is going to be here. We'll drag them in front of the camera. What was that?
Can I borrow your wormhole?
Yeah, your
I'll come back through it.
Yeah, we got to drag you out here for one of these things sometime. Well, why don't we start planning now for next year's Emerald City Comic Con? Is that a good plan? All right.
Sounds good.
So yeah, look forward to that. We'll be there. We'll be doing some shenanigans. It should be a good time. That's all I have for now, I guess. You ready to take some questions, Andrew?
Fire them away.
All right. We've got the first question. Oh, and also, if you're watching live and you want to ask a question, go to punishprops.com/live to submit your question. We have a bunch already, but we could probably try and tag some more in there if we have time. So that's where you submit your question. Okay, first one comes from Staple Crop Rice. Do you trade with other creators? Kits, plans, etc.? I do.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to answer. I haven't done anything as of in the last year, but definitely in the previous years, I was always supporting fan films. Whenever someone wanted to do a fan film, and it was Halo or Mass Effect related. I was like, yeah, here, take rifles
Yeah.
and just have fun with them. I'm a huge supporter of people just wanting to create their own content, and for me, making props like these, they're all based out of styrofoam, so I can pop them out in a day or two, and it doesn't cost me anything. I mean, these are like $5 worth of material, so with that luxury, I can just help out people as much as possible. But now that I'm doing this full time, I would love to reach out and do as many collaborations with people as much as possible. So yeah.
We do a lot of the similar stuff. I made a lot of kits back in the day. I don't have any new ones, but that's kind of like prop maker currency is blank resin kits. So I have, at last count, I think I had 17 unpainted resin kits. I'm desperately trying to finish them, but I've had one of Volpin Prop's needler kits, I think, for 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, you gotta get that one done. You gotta get it done.
That wasn't a trade either. I bought that one. So I
enough.
should probably finish that. But it's amazing. It's gorgeous. I'm almost afraid to ruin it. I'm like, I'm not good enough yet.
Jealous.
So
Very
we do
jealous.
lots of trading over here too. Usually around Christmas time, we'll do like a prop maker Secret Santa, and also we traded some guns. Haha, this one, ha.
Spoiler again.
Actually, and then this guy, I believe I bought that one from you right above. You were selling.
That was at least 2 years ago now.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. So very, very awesome. I love trading. I love being able to share, like physically share stuff with people that you look up to, and vice versa. It's the Mutual Admiration Society.
Exactly.
Let's grab another one. That last one was from Staple Crop Rice. Thank you very much. Good question. Next one is Quentin Boot. Hey, Andrew, I would love to know if you have ever considered using other materials or other than foam, such as MDF or Worbla, for armor.
Ooh, very good question. Yes and yes. I will be definitely giving Worbla a go this year. I really want to produce some really nice, highly detailed armor. It's not really been a thing that I've gone through just because I want to create as much content as fast as possible. But I do want to sit down, put all my talent into one costume over a course of a month or two. And Worbla is going to be a nice little way to do that. As well as I will be getting a bandsaw because someone uses a lot of it, and I really want to do it now. Make some cool swords and some proper MDF based guns.
What
so
is
get
the
some proper weight?
what is the local hardware store that you guys have?
Mitre 10 Bunnings.
Bunnings, that's the one. I went to a Bunnings when I was there. It was cool. So I know that they sell bandsaws there. You can
They do.
one.
I'll get
All
one. I'll get one.
Maybe maybe I could sponsor a bandsaw. But it would have to have Punished Props painted all over it.
It can be named.
No, you do. That's if you haven't already started it in your chat on Twitch, get your chat to name your tools. It's a lot of fun. That's how we ended up with the shop vac is named Vlad the Inhaler. We have a vinyl cutter named Roberto. It's a good time. Good question, Quentin Boot. Everyone keep an eye on Andrew because he's going to be making more and more cool stuff. You have a space where you live now that's more of a dedicated actual garage type space, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Hence where the bandsaw will go and all the wood.
Very good. Next challenge, though, is you got to wire it all up for Twitch for streaming and get webcams hanging from the rafters like I do.
I can manage. I'll figure a way.
Yep.
Glue.
A
lot of hot glue.
All right. Thanks, Quentin. Ashley has a question. I've made Sokka's boomerang from Avatar: The Last Airbender out of floor mat foam. Very good. Boomerang does always come back. But I want the finished product to be sturdy without the chance of it bending and forming a crease in the foam. What would be the best material to do a hard clear coat over the top of the piece?
This might be one for you.
Could be, yeah. I would say, too, if you haven't finished it already, putting some sort of support on the inside would help a lot. You could use a piece of wood or a piece of plastic or a piece of metal, like bent into a boomerang shape, just like a metal rod, aluminum or whatever, just so that it has less of a chance of deflecting from the inside. But if you want to put a rigid outer coat on foam, then epoxies are a good way to go. Epsilon or Epsilon Pro from Smooth On are really, really good. We have a video on sealing foam that goes over that. And also Core Geek, our buddy Core Geek, who I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but he's got a couple of good videos on doing sealing using Epsilon. And it does a nice, once it cures, it's a nice hard shell on the outside. So there's a couple of things. I still wouldn't throw it.
No.
Once it's done.
But how are you going to repel the fire nation?
I know, right? You need a space sword. That's what you really need. So good luck with that, Ashley. If you're just getting used to those materials, and go ahead and do some tests on small scrap pieces first before you go and smear epoxy all over your finished prop. Let's see here. Next one is Pumpkin. You mentioned in your How to Seal EVA Foam guide, I just referenced, that being able to sand your sealant is great if you want a specific finish. I'm curious what kind of finishes you are referring to. Are the finishes harder to get with regular painting or without sanding the sealant or the primer beneath? Let's see here. Britt made a chart.
A chart?
Yeah. There we go. We have a chart on our website. We'll put a link to this in the show notes too. That goes over a bunch of different paints, how easy they are to use, how flexible they are, how easy they are to paint, and whether they're good or not for sanding. So, for example, I very much like using latex rubber, but it's impossible to sand because it's rubber. So check out that chart to get a good look at everything. For the guns that you have in the back there, are those are mostly just the styrofoam, and then you can sand them fairly smooth and then paint them with acrylic paints? Is that usually how you do it?
Yep. Take the foam, sand it, apply PVA glue to it, maybe about 2 coats straight from the bottle, and that. I mean, it doesn't like give it 100% like a solid surface, but in terms of like durability, it gives it at least another 25% on. It just gives it. It stops the chipping of the foam. Yeah. And then you apply like acrylic to it, and it will just hold and be really nice. And
you could actually put on a couple layers of that PVA glue and then sand it again, and then put on a couple more layers and sand it until it's shiny if you want. It depends on how much work you want to put into it.
And the only thing I've found is that the more you apply, the less detail it starts to destroy. I mean, the more detail it starts to destroy, like it'll start to fill in all these tiny crevices and whatnot. But you just got to work with it, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Everything has their pros and cons. Again, go check out that chart that Britt made. It's super useful. When I talk about getting a specific finish on a prop, I generally mean a texture, right? So if I'm making armor that needs to look shiny, it's difficult to get that with Worbla because you have to fill and sand until it's nice and shiny. But if it's supposed to have like a hammered metal look, then that's a great place to start because it doesn't need to be super smooth.
Very true.
If you're sealing your foam with, let's say, Plasti Dip or something you can't sand very well, you're just kind of stuck with the texture that comes out of the can. With the latex rubber that I like, if you put enough layers of it on, it becomes fairly smooth. You just don't have to sand it, and then you could hit it with like a gloss varnish, and it'll look nice and shiny. You just have to put on a lot of rubber. That's the goal there. Thanks for the question, Pumpkin. Another one comes from our pal Hey Patch, who should be in the chat. I'm keeping an eye up. I see you there. I see you, Hey Patch. Let's see. I have a load of expanded polystyrene, the white kind, and wanted to make it into some sweet space guns. I know working with polystyrene can be tricky, as pretty much everything will melt it, so spray paint, some glues, heat. I was wondering if you guys had any tips for working with this stuff, particularly with regard to sticking and sealing the polystyrene foam. Yeah, Andrew, you have some basic tips for using polystyrene, like how you glue it together and all that?
Yep. First tip, avoid anything that is acidic, and don't use anything that will give too much heat because, yes, it will melt it, and you're left with some pretty bad fumes. Hence, I brought it on cue. With this being my very first one, when I started years ago trying to work with styrofoam, you can see how it was deformed due to heat and other assorted things, which I won't get into. But what I usually do is I have a heat gun, a hot glue gun, sorry, and most of the time I always use my hot glue gun, but I use it just when it's started to heat up. If you let it heat too much, of course, it's just going to melt through like lava. But if you have it at that right kind of temperature where you can apply the two, it will stick permanently. It will never come off, and you won't have any damage to the two pieces. But that's kind of my cheat way to go around. You could use art cement, I guess, as well, barge cement, whatever you guys call it there in America.
Barge cement might eat right through it.
You reckon? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm guessing on that, but the toluene in the barge is pretty toxic, and
okay.
I'm just guessing.
Hot glue in a very low temperature is the way to go. That's what I've used for all these years, and I've never had an issue with it.
With the when I was painting your gun, I sealed it. I knew because I've made mistakes in the past to not just spray paint on it, because if the spray paint has any sort of solvent in there, especially something like acetone, it'll just turn it into a mess. Like how that would be kind of upsetting if I had just sent you a message. I got bad news, Andrew.
I was expecting it. I'm like, I wonder if he's just gonna put the spray nozzle right to the thing and just go and then just watch it eat away. I was expecting it, but
I know better. So what I did to seal it actually was I mixed up PVA glue with a little bit of water to thin it, and then I put some black acrylic paint in there just to give it a color, and then I sprayed that. I have an air spray gun, and I sprayed on probably 4 good layers of that. So I basically covered it in Mod Podge or PVA glue, but I didn't brush it on. I got a nice smooth sprayed on finish that way. So if you have a compressor and a critter spray gun or an airbrush, you can actually do it that way. That'll all be in my next video coming out next week.
I'm gonna have to learn from it.
You're gonna have to get an air compressor. That's what you'll need.
The list grows.
It does. Let's see. That was from our pal Hey Patch, and those are a lot of really good tips if you're going to start working with styrene. Let's see here. I wanted to quickly show the picture I took today. when I was at the hardware store. Let's see. That is just a wall of sheets of polystyrene. As soon as I saw that, I knew I had to send it to Andrew. And those are like 2 inches thick. And they're 8 feet long and 2 feet wide, and they're about $15 each.
Cheap.
Let's grab another question. This one comes from Lunatic77. I just bought a foam weapon at a con, and the paint on the handle is already wearing off. It looks like it's been airbrushed, but not sealed. What should I use to repaint it if I don't have access to an airbrush, and then seal it? That's a good question. What do you think, Andrew?
So it's been airbrushed before, but now it's chipped. But you don't have an airbrush, so how do you fix it? Oh, I wouldn't have a clue.
I would
get an ironing board thing. No, I don't know.
I think he said the paint on the handle is wearing off. So you may have to just mask off only the handle, and then maybe spray it with a primer. So that it's all one. Just buy a can of spray paint, spray it with that primer so that it's all one color, and then you can repaint the entire handle. I think if you try and paint just that one spot, it's always going to be, you're never going to be able to color batch it. It's always going to look that one way. And then seal it with whatever spray sealant you like. Clear spray paint, clear varnish. That's what I like. Or
and your hand will always cover it, so you're never going to have anyone noticing.
Yeah. But you're probably going to have to repaint the whole handle, I think. Thanks for the question, Lunatic77. Next one comes from Misty. I'm a prop master for a community theater, and many times I have to have something breakable, like a plate. And when it hits the floor, it needs to sound like a china plate, but it doesn't actually break. I also have to put real food on it that will be eaten. Is there something I can coat such items with that will keep them from breaking? Huh. That is...
I've never run into anything like that.
That is a lot of challenges. I think making something food safe, I don't have any experience doing that. But the folks at Smooth On do. So I would go ask them. They're very active on Twitter. You can just go to their website and ask them. Because I think making it food safe first has got to be a priority, and then how breakable or whatever it sounds like is going to be the next step.
I have an answer.
Ah,
Why not use a real plate and just tell your actors to suck it up? I do not condone any violence.
I don't know if breaking a plate every single night, it may not be in the budget.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
I like that idea, though. I do like that idea. They could really be like method acting, just shattering plates.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that is definitely a challenge there, Misty. Yeah, that's not something I've had to run into very frequently, especially with the food safe stuff. I've thought about it. I know that they make materials for that, like making a potion bottle from Skyrim and then being able to actually drink stuff out of it. I've thought about it, but I've never really done the legwork. So good luck. Good luck. Next one comes from OG Purple Koosh. Andrew, have you done any add-ons, i.e. backpacks or waist packs? He's working on his ODST build. So I guess like additional, like maybe a pouch or something.
Not most of the time. Mainly my thing when I do cosplay is I build it to look good from one view, because I never go to cons really, so I never need to spend like an additional 6 hours on making a backpack that no one's ever going to see in a photo. It just saves time, saves money, whatever. But I haven't actually done backpacks or additional things that sit on the back, even for my Titanfall costume. I feel really bad about it. Even for all the Titanfall costumes, I never built like a Titan pilot jet pack thing that they have. It's like an iconic piece, but I never built it because you just never see a back shot of me. So unfortunately, my friend, I haven't. But I will see what I can do about rigging up some additional templates to go along with the tutorials.
That sounds like a good challenge to me. I know I tend to add pouches just because I do go to conventions and I need to carry things. I need to carry my phone and my wallet, maybe some snacks. So I'll add. I'll usually pick costumes that have
functional pouches.
Yeah, and then build that into it. I'm trying to think of a good example. Actually, it's not the Draugrs, by the way. The Skyrim Draugr Deathlords that we made, they don't have pouches. They don't have pockets. But I added a pouch to it, like a nice leather pouch I got at a Renaissance fair, and it looks perfect. It looks the part perfectly, and no one's ever called me on it. So
Draugrs are allowed accessories.
This is a very fashionable,
who's to say they're not?
very fashionable and practical Draugr. And also think too, once you make that, if you make a backpack, think of all the features you could add into it. You could actually carry some stuff like beer. That's what I would do.
Yep.
Thank you, OG Purple Koosh. Next one comes from Large. Have you ever used EL wire before? What do you think about it? I'm thinking of using it to simulate lightning around my armor for a Flash costume, but I have never used it or seen it in person before. EL wire. That is a tricky beast. You ever tinkered with any of that stuff?
No, I've always wanted to, because back in the Halo 4 days when they introduced the Forerunner weaponry, everyone was trying to achieve the nice orange glows that go through them, and I noticed a lot of people were using EL wire, and I was like, wow, it actually adds a significant effect to it all. But I've never been able to locate it, let alone ship it into New Zealand, so I've always wanted to, but if you can get your hands on it, it's totally worth giving it a go, I reckon. There should be tutorials out there on how to rig it up.
I've tinkered with it just a tiny bit. The main thing I can tell you about EL wire is that it's not going to give off a lot of light. The wire itself will glow, but if you're in the sunlight, you won't see that glow at all. It does not put out a ton of light. So just know that going into it. The wire will look that color, so if you have like lightning colored wire around your flash suit, it'll be that color. It just won't look like it's glowing unless you're in a dark room.
Right.
Also know that wiring EL wire is a massive pain. It sucks. It's teeny tiny little wires, and then splicing two of them together. Like if you want a wire to go into like a Y, and split off into two, the connection point there is going to have to be soldered together. Nice. And it's tedious and tiny, so it won't look continuous. There will be a break in the wire.
Hence why I haven't used it.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky to get it to do the things you need it to do. Generally, if I'm doing lighting stuff, I like to use LEDs. Yeah. But it shouldn't stop you from getting some and playing with it. It's because you can get some pretty cool things. It's just tricky. Thank you, Large. Good luck with your next project with your lights. Next one comes from Jordan. I was interested in getting a vinyl cutter for doing stickers and stencils. Do you have any suggestions where to start? I have a question for Andrew. How do you do the detail painting on your guns? Is that a lot of masking tape?
Yeah, pretty much. Depending on how detailed I'm trying to get, most of the time larger decals will be masked out. Otherwise, I will hand carve it from like a real sturdy styrene sheet or something, and then just spray paint it on as a stencil.
Oh, there you go. That's how.
But a vinyl cutter would solve all my issues in a heartbeat.
They're pretty great. The Silouette Cameo. Now I haven't used one. I have this monstrosity here. I paid a lot more for it, but I've got a K&K Max monster, whatever. You don't need one of those. I don't need one of those. I don't know why I have that. The Silouette Cameo is the cool one all the cool kids are getting these days, and they're just a couple $100. In my opinion, totally worth it. And also this stuff. Hold on, since I have it here. Whoops, I'm attached to my computer. This is the stencil vinyl that I use. This stuff you can get even if you don't have a vinyl cutter. You can just use this to make really cool stencils. This is the Aura Mask 813, and it's transparent. So when you are going to lay it down on your thing, you can actually see through it, which is really cool. I'm just showing off how it's kind of transparent. Look at that.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So that, and it's a low-tack stencil vinyl, so when you peel it off, it's not going to affect the layer below it.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's everything I know about vinyl cutters. Let's see here. That was Jordan. Run out and grab yourself a Silouette Cameo. Also quick too, you can go to like Kinko's and they'll cut vinyl for you. Just FYI, if you have a Kinko's near you or other office supply places, they usually have a low, like you have to spend at least $25 or something like that. So if you need a bunch of stuff cut out, you can go have them do it too. They won't have this fancy vinyl though. Just FYI. Let's see here. Next one is Aaron. Currently trying to make a Genji costume from Overwatch, and I'm having some difficulty making the sword. Planning on making the spine of the blade and the handle out of one piece of MDF, and putting lights and plexiglass in the spine of the blade. I'm having some trouble figuring out the best way to carve a channel into the blade down the length of it to insert the lights and plexiglass. Any suggestions?
What do you usually use to bevel in lines into MDF?
I think the simplest way would be to just kind of carve, like with an X-Acto or a chisel, kind of mark out where that channel's going to go, and then go back in with your Dremel tool and maybe like a smaller router bit and just kind of remove the offending material. I think that would be the thing you could do with the least amount of tools. But a rotary tool is definitely a good thing to have for all the things. If you want to go crazy, you could do it with a table saw.
And hope it works.
Yep. But that's how, like, if people are cutting channels into cabinets, they use a table saw. It would use, with a curved blade, that'd be kind of wacky, but I bet you could do it. Doing it safely would be
different question.
The real challenge. A router table would do something similar. But maybe even just a chisel, like a really thin chisel. You could just chisel out a little thing.
Just be patient. Take your time.
Yeah, that's more than anything. Taking your time is gonna help out. And if all you have is a little chisel, then it's gonna take some time. But that's okay. That one came to us from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. Let's grab another one from Jeff. He's working on a For Honor Warden costume. And he has some questions. Chainmail. Oh my goodness. Have you ever made chainmail, Andrew?
No, it's always scared me. I always look at it like, that's a lot of little pieces I have to clip together. So I've never really got around to it. But it is something I would like to do one day.
Have
It's
you?
always one of those missions I want to do as a costume maker to make a proper chainmail getup. Because
Well,
I've always wanted to do the Minas Tirith Lord of the Rings guys. And
oh, that'd be so
they've
cool.
got it all over.
Well, they made theirs for Lord of the Rings out of PVC pipe. They don't do that anymore. In fact, I got to see some at Weta when I was there. They get pre-made plastic rings now, which is kind of cool. But if you have PVC pipe and a PVC pipe cutter, you can cut out little rings of PVC pipe and make chainmail that way. So we've done that. You can buy pre-made rings. The Ring Lord is a place to look for that. I recommend if you're going to do that, get aluminum rings because they're metal and they have that nice shine to them and they sound really cool, but they're lightweight and they're a lot easier to work with than steel. So
Sweet.
you can get them in a variety of colors too. Again, the Ring Lord. So yeah, if you want to do a big old thing and you don't want to make your own and you want it to make it look super legit, then go order some aluminum rings. There you go.
Just make sure you've got plenty of spare time.
Lots of time. Brittany likes to call it painful knitting.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
That was one from our buddy Jeff. Let's grab some more here. Captain Indigo says he's working on a Dr. Fate costume, which has a close-faced helmet. Let's see, the floor mat foam was too thick and bulky for the nose and eye area, so I'm using 6mm craft foam. Very good. And it works perfectly. The problem is that the craft foam is soft and isn't holding complex shapes well. Do you have any suggestions to solve this problem? Now, you've done plenty of helmets out of EVA foam, right?
Yep.
In fact, you've got some tutorial. I'm going to just cruise through your YouTube videos real quick. Do you ever find any of the parts are just a little too thin to kind of hold their own weight?
Yes, definitely if they're hanging by themselves or are separated adjacent to some larger pieces. But it's never really been a cause for concern for me. Like I said before, I don't attend cons, so I've never had to have them try and survive several hours. So for that question, I don't know if I'm the best one to answer. But then again, I guess if you use something like rubber sealant, I'm pretty sure that should hold them together, right? It won't. It might wobble and strafe a bit, but it should stick together.
Yes, for sure. The way you seal it can help out a whole lot. What I've done in the past for things like that is my Mechanist. It's over there. His mouthpieces are really thin, and I didn't want them to wobble at all. So behind each one of those slots, I just glued a thin piece of plastic. So like a piece of styrene plastic or PVC plastic, and I just glued it in the back on the back where you're not going to see it, and that seems to give it enough structure or rigidity so that it doesn't bend while I'm running around. So that's what I would recommend you do. Just put a little piece of plastic back there. That's also actually one of the reasons why the gun that I gave you doesn't have a trigger. Is that if I use EVA foam, it's a thin piece like that's just going to be floppy. So usually what I'll do is leave it out because it's probably going to break out anyway, or I'll make it out of plastic. So I don't care. Like, I don't care if it's got a trigger in it or not. Apparently a lot of people on YouTube care.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh my God, do I have to build a trigger now when I put the second video out? But I didn't.
So Nope. Who cares?
They can complain.
Let's see. That was Captain Indigo. Good luck with your Dr. Fate costume. Yeah. Admiral Ido wants to know. He says that Andrew mentioned on his side of the collaboration that he used software to get access to the 3D models of the hand cannon. Where did you get the pictures of the 3D models of your hand cannon, Andrew?
What is it? Their website we used. I think it's just a Bungie website. It's an actual incorporated part of their site, I believe.
It is. They're one of the few companies I've seen who actually do that, where you can go look at 3D models of their guns.
I'm sure we can find it and put it in the chat somewhere.
Yeah, Bungie, Moss Scala. I'll just look up the gun I made. Let's see here. They have an armory. That's what it is. The Bungie Armory.
That's right.
And I've got it up on the screen right now.
You've
And if
even got the like chest pieces, helmet pieces. So if you want to make those, that's what I did for my Warlock. I was like, I want to build that helmet, but how do I do it out of foam? Oh wait, you can rotate and look at it.
Yeah.
And break it apart.
This is it looks like a fairly orthographic view. And you can just rotate around it and take screenshots. Now this is I imagine the low poly model, but it still looks pretty legit. So there you go. Just bungie.net/en/armory. We'll put a link in the show notes. But that's awesome. I love that they did that. Not many companies do that.
Nope.
I did the same thing you did when I went to make mine.
Why not? It's there.
It's there. It's perfect. Yeah. There is also a Destiny STL generator where you can go download 3D files. You can actually get the 3D file. And again, these are the low poly models. I would not recommend downloading them and immediately trying to 3D print them. It would be a nightmare. But that's available too if you need a good like jumping off point for your build. There we go. We covered that. We did a good job on that one, Andrew. We covered that thoroughly. Thank you, Admiral Ido. Our other buddy, Habiteer Workshop, who I will always remember because he sent me coffee. And that scores a lot of points in my book.
I'll keep that in mind.
He says, how do you keep coming up with the next item to sell as a prop maker? Or I guess the next thing to build. Yeah. So how do you pick the next thing that you're going to make?
Well, I guess that could be broken into two questions, and two very good questions you're going to have to think about. One, for making, that's easy. You just want to go with something that you enjoy and is trending, I guess. For making, you've got to have a bit of a clever... I mean, for selling, you've got to have a bit of a clever, because you don't want to sell the most trending and new item, because you probably don't own that IP. And you could get in trouble if it's brand new. But finding a balance, I guess, is the most important part. But definitely for making... If you love a Halo game or if you love Mass Effect that's coming out, why did I make the Mass Effect guns? Because the game's coming out in 3 weeks or so. It's trending. People enjoy it. I enjoy it.
I think that's a good intersection of something that a lot of other people are going to want to see because there's a new game coming out or if there's a cool thing going on right now, and something that you're very excited about. So Mass Effect is a great example. I'm very excited about the new Mass Effect game coming out. I'm going to have to build something from that. I'll give you another example. When Pokemon was going insane, it probably would have been a good idea for me to make something from Pokemon, like make a video. But I don't play Pokemon. Nothing about Pokemon excites me. So I wasn't going to make a video just because.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. People sometimes will notice that if you jumped onto Twitch and played a trending game that was completely a contrast to what you're used to, just for the views, people notice that, and that will rub off on you. And sometimes you want to avoid that.
I think it's better in the long run to just show how enthusiastic you are about the things that you very much love.
Exactly. And that's where you build your communities.
Yes, exactly. And if that's also happens to be something that everyone else is very excited about right now, then that's gold. That's the good stuff. And that's why I made and sold a lot of Mass Effect guns a long time ago. Thank you, Habiteer Workshop. Good question. Patina Props wants to know, how would you go about getting your name out there in the prop making community and getting jobs? Getting jobs? I don't know. I made my own job. So I've been self-employed for about 5 years now, and I'm basically unemployable. So getting a job is not really something I know anything about. But getting my name out there is something I know a couple things about. And
Some would say that's the best way to get a job.
That's right. If by jobs you mean commissions, then yes, getting your name out there is a great way to do that. But I think that there are only a handful of people in the prop making community who do what me and Andrew do, and that is detailed tutorial content. That's if you're doing, and I'll tell you why too. Tell me, Andrew, if you were building something and you didn't have to film it, it'd probably take a lot less time, wouldn't it?
Yep, yep, it
Yeah.
would. I mean, I'm filming my Pulse Blade Titan pilot helmet, which I've been procrastinating for so long because it's so much detail, so much individual stages. It's like, it takes so long. I don't want to do this, but you get through it. But
Yeah. But
I definitely see why it deters some people.
exactly, yeah. But doing, like, the internet is content, right? And it's quickly becoming video content. If you're the people making the videos online, you get all the eyeballs. The reason why not everyone does it is because it's difficult, it's challenging, it's a lot of extra work. But if you're willing to put in that work consistently, you'll get a lot more eyeballs. And therefore a lot more commission type work. Or whatever it is, however you want to convert those views into any sort of a career or a side job or whatever. So, in the short version, start making YouTube videos.
I've always just dumbed it down to two words: passion and hard work.
That'll do it. Hustle.
Hustle. Exactly.
That's right. Good luck with that though, because making videos is hard. But try and have a good time there, Patina props. But work really hard, for real. Blacksmith Cosplay says, I'm considering gender bending Mercy for a cosplay, but I'm not 100% sure on how to go about that. Any advice? So you're making a male version of Mercy. Or wait.
That's the Overwatch Angel character, is it?
Yes, the
The one
healer.
with the wings and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that should be fun.
Yeah. I made a gender bent rogue once, which was kind of fun. So I'll just tell you how I did that. I wore like cargo pants, I guess. Instead of wearing tight pants, I wore just military. Kind of went just like a little bit of a military looking thing. So I had cargo pants, actually two pair of cargo pants that my friend seamed together so that they had the green and yellow stripe kind of. Yep. I went with slightly more muted colors, so it's not bright green and bright yellow. And then I had some kind of shirt. I can't remember the shirt. And then I had just a bomber jacket over that. So like a leather jacket. And I dyed my hair too, which was kind of weird, but fun at the same time. So I don't know, kind of duded it up a little bit. Just baggier pants. Maybe find a character that's similar to what Mercy does, but is a more masculine looking, and try and marry those two styles, I guess.
Or look at like Greek mythology, like gods and stuff, because I know Mercy's got that kind of aesthetic going on. So if you were to kind of pull some nice designs from that and incorporate it in some way, then
yeah, look at the more. You really just analyze what makes those characters look masculine, and that's what you would incorporate into it. I guess. Yeah, I'm thinking the difference between crossplay and gender bend. Gender bend would be to turn Mercy into a more male-looking thing. Do a lot of drawings beforehand too. Like do a lot of design work. I wouldn't dive right into the fabrication. All right. Well, good luck. That's an interesting challenge. So have fun with it and good luck. Thank you, Blacksmith Cosplay. Next one here is from Rowari Cosplay. Let's see here. I'm just wondering if you're attending any European events and if you have any plans for Gamescom this year. I don't. Not yet, anyway. I don't know what might happen, but I don't have any solid plans to go to Europe currently. Do you have any travel plans, Andrew?
I will be doing a American trip at some point later in the year. So I will be swinging by all the friends, content creators, cosplayers and all. Come and see them, come hang, make content, have fun. And that'll be later in the year. So I'm very excited to finally do that. I've never been to America yet. So to make it worth it and spend a decent amount of time there is definitely something I've always wanted to do.
That's exciting. Do you have any particular events you'd like to see or go to?
I don't think there's any. I don't think it's cosplay season when I will be there. I think it's just like the season before you get to December, so your winter. So it's going to be like Augusty era. So I don't know what's around then, but I'm more keen to just see and socialize with people.
You could go to DragonCon.
DragonCon. There we go. We'll line it in.
DragonCon would blow your mind. It would be awesome.
Oh, well then I'll have to go.
All right. We'll take this offline. We'll figure out if we can get Andrew to DragonCon. But no, I guess neither one of us is going to Europe. Sorry. At least no plans to anyway. I want to very much go to Germany and visit our friends at Kamui Cosplay. I think that would be super fun. But we don't have any solid plans in the works right now.
Who knows? We could check our inbox in 5 minutes and find a sponsored trip over there.
Yeah, you never really know. Yeah, Gamescom sounds kind of cool. That was from Rowari Cosplay. Next one here comes from Peter. He says, because of you both, the Boolean Gemini and hand cannons, I started working on Trespasser from Destiny. Which one's Trespasser?
I don't know that one.
I need to know.
Sounds like an exotic rifle.
It does. Let's see here. It is a sidearm, I think. It looks like a sidearm. Yeah. Did I have that one? I can't remember if I got that one or not. But it's an exotic sidearm. Yeah, it's an exotic sidearm. Sweet. Okay, cool. Good to know. It's very important that we know these things. So Peter's working on Trespasser. He says, do you have any tips for making sure my 3D printed parts come together the way I want, and what kind of glue I should use? Oh.
That's for you.
All right. I use super glue, and if I need longer working time, I use a 5-minute epoxy. Just make sure. What was that?
So what do you usually find is your curing time for super glue? I've always been curious.
I use a spray accelerant so that it cures instantly because I am impatient.
Wizardry.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to, like, if you're clamping a bunch of, like, some big parts together, then a 5-minute epoxy gives you the time you need to work with it to get everything lined up perfectly before you clamp it down. So
cool.
There you go. But as far as, like, getting parts to come together the way you want, you're gonna have to do a lot of trial and error, figure out if you need to build any tolerances into your 3D model. If you do find that it's just you just don't have enough time to put pieces together so that they line up perfectly, just use that 5-minute epoxy just so you have more working time. With for the glue, the hot glue with your foam guns there, what's the working time with that? If you're putting you have a little bit of wiggle room, right, to like kind of line stuff up.
Correct. With EVA foam, yeah, I've definitely got that at least a minute of wiggle room, and then I just have to hold it firmly for at least another 2 minutes. Or you could literally throw some water or put it under a tap and it will just straight away, which is good for some larger pieces.
Yeah.
But for the styrofoam, once you got it to that nice temperature that doesn't burn, you put the two pieces together, you got maybe 5 seconds, and then it's set. It's done. If you put it in the wrong place, you're going to have to carve it off. And you've just made a mistake.
Sounds like you've done that before.
Too many times.
I actually glued, for the gun that you that I painted of yours, I glued the little pieces on with super glue. Just little parts. I know super glue can eat through styrofoam, but for the little pieces, it worked all right. But Sweet. Again, as soon as you touch them together, like, that's it. Like, they're stuck together. You don't really have any room to fix it or to budge it just a little bit left or right. It's like stuck there. Cool, Peter. There you go. There's some good tips for you for 3D printing and just any other props in general. Let's see. Sarah Nade says, for simple shapes like a dome, can plastic meant for vacuum forms be heated with a heat gun and molded over a buck by hand? They sure can. Like PETG or styrene, like thin plastic styrene. You know what's a funny thing, Andrew? You would actually be hard pressed to find styrene plastic anywhere near you, because Weta Workshop has bought all of it.
Yep. It's definitely a scarce material to find in this country.
They told me that I don't know what they were working on, but they said they once bought all of the gold paint in both New Zealand and Australia. There was gone. No more gold paint.
They do that. Those cheeky buggers, them Weta people.
But if you can get your hands on some styrene, then it'll heat form very nicely over a form. Styrene
I could also keep it and it becomes high value.
That's right. You could be the styrene monger. Cool. So there you go. Yeah, you can form that stuff by hand. It's hard to get it to look as like if the piece you're trying to make needs to look very mechanical or very manufactured. It's hard to do that by hand. But with enough practice, you can kind of massage it into whatever shapes you need. Let's see. We had a couple more questions here. Our buddy Jeff had a couple more about this For Honor question that he's costume that he's making.
Yeah.
He's interested to know about the sword. It's over 50 inches long. He wants to make it with EVA foam, similar to the Adam Cat's axe that we made. Yes, it's just a really long blade. He's curious about what he would use to support the length of that blade.
Thin MDF sheet, make a spine, wrap the foam over it. That's the best way I could do.
You could do that. He's talking about using a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. I bet that would work too.
Mm-hmm.
You could use aluminum. You can use fiberglass rod. Although getting a curved shape would be tricky with fiberglass rod. So maybe heat forming a PVC pipe, or like you said, a piece of MDF would be pretty good. My brother made a
Worbla it.
What was that?
You could even Worbla it.
Oh, put Worbla over it. Yeah, that would create a nice hard shell on the outside too. You've got options, Jeff. So, like I always say, do some tests beforehand.
I think people in the chat are watching all the videos that I uploaded, like when I first started.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I went back and watched some of your old videos. I think you should do more videos with fingerless gloves. I think you should bring that back.
Okay. And no cuts, just one solid take.
Yep. Hey, you don't have to edit it.
Lighting.
It's brilliant. You don't have to do any editing.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's fine. I look back at my videos from 5 years ago and I cringe. And I'm also like, wow, Bill, you had a lot less gray hair in your beard. All right. Let's see. Do we have enough time for one more? I bet we do. Let's see. Jeff wants to know if there's a faux leather or substitute material that would work well for making a vest. He plans to attach foam plates and scale mail to it. How would you attach those to faux leather? What sort of cloth type things have you done for like your Warlock? Is that all just fabric?
It is fabric. Doing rivets and stuff could probably help.
Yeah.
Keyholes and all that jazz, and then just use leather ties for the strands. But for most of the part, it's just all fabric. So, I mean, applying anything onto foam is possible. You just got to find a way to make sure it doesn't tear out. So using key rings and all that stuff will definitely help it. That could be a way to go forward.
Yes. And then for faux leather, you can go to, depending on where you live, go to Joann Fabrics or I believe fabric.com. Is that where we got ours? Let me see here. Fabric.com. Yes. That's where we've ordered faux leather in the past and faux fur, which is really handy. So for our Draugr costume, some of that stuff was done with faux leather, which is just a fabric with some vinyl on it that's been pressed to look like leather. It's way cheaper than leather, and it's really easy to work with.
Sweet.
Then again, if you want to be like a total boss, you can just make it out of real leather. Good luck. That's
a whole nother skill level.
That's a whole other can of worms. All right. Thank you for the question. That one was from Jeff. Thank you everyone else for all of your questions. You guys never make it easy for us, but you make it awesome. So your questions are great. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming back after we took like 3 weeks off. For showing up, all our wonderful prop tarts in the chat. You guys are awesome. And Andrew, thank you for hanging out.
Most welcome. Always a pleasure.
Last hour. Again, you guys go check out Andrew's videos on youtube.com/AndrewDFT. And is it twitch.tv/AndrewDFT as well?
It is indeed.
There you go. Go check it out because he's live streaming a lot more than I am. What are you working on the next live stream?
Ooh, on the spot. I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured out. I'm just like, what do I need to do? I painted my massive guns. I might need to create something new.
Ooh,
so who knows?
Good.
It's a surprise. A surprise stream.
But he'll
figure it out.
He'll be starting something new. So if you want to go, maybe help him pick that out. Go check out twitch.tv/AndrewDFT. Give him a follow, so you're notified next time he goes live. That's all we got, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out on Prop Live this week. We will be back next week, right before Emerald City Comic Con. We may have some special guests. And of course, check out the videos that Andrew and I are putting up on Monday/Tuesday, depending on where you live in the world. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you all in the next live. Yay!